Ah, è qua, penso. No, sì.
A very good evening and welcome along to the Stadio Giuseppe Meazza. We're all set for live coverage of Inter against Juventus, the derby d'Italia. We're in the company of Patrick Kendrick alongside former defender Manuel Pascali. Good evening, Manuel.
Good evening, Patrick, and a very good evening, everyone. If there is a match, Patrick, every single football fan is looking at when it's scheduled, it must be the derby d'Italia. Juve-Inter will always be a special match and probably the most iconic one in Serie A.
Certainly the Milan derby will give it a run for its money when it comes to iconic fixtures, but this is a real grudge match between Inter, the reigning champions, Juventus, the most successful team in the history of Italian football domestically, and there are so many stories to this one as well this evening. Thiago Motta, the new Juventus head coach, used to play for Inter. He won the treble with the Nerazzurri. We've got brothers on opposite sides with Marcus and Kefren Turam, and there's Sergio Conceição's son, Chico, who now plays for the Bianconeri. Sergio, who was once an Inter player. All that, plus Michele Di Gregorio, the Juventus goalkeeper, spent a dozen years as an Inter player, and he grew up not far from here in the Corsico neighbourhood of Milan. Samir Handanovic is here, Di Gregorio's idol, essentially. They used to train together. The Bianconeri fan base is well represented as well. Giorgio Chiellini now in his official role as part of the Juventus management. He won so many fixtures during his time as a Juventus player, but in recent times, ever since Simone Inzaghi has been Inter boss, the Nerazzurri have just started to edge ahead here. Speaking of edging ahead, that's Napoli, who currently sit atop of Serie A, having beaten Lecce last evening. They're 5 clear of Inter in second, and a further point ahead of Juventus down in third. So not only is this a grudge match this evening, it also has implications for our nascent title race. Simone Inzaghi has been saying in the lead up to this match, it is only round 9, which means this game is important, if not yet decisive, but we will see which player can be decisive and prove to be a match winner this evening. It's one of those fixtures that both sets of supporters look out for as soon as the fixture list is unveiled in the summer months. And it's finally come around. Juventus still unbeaten domestically. Inter have only lost once, and it came in a big match against Milan some 5 games ago. Since followed that up with 5 victories on the bounce. The captain, El Toro, Lautaro Martinez, last season's top scorer en route to the Scudetto, the 20th in club history. Simone Inzaghi acknowledged that the win over Juventus here in early February gave the Nerazzurri the momentum to go on and win the title, and therefore claim that second star at the expense of their cross-city rivals, Milan. This game is not without absentees. Inter are missing one of their crucial players in Hakan Çalhanoğlu. There's no Francesco Acerbi either for the Nerazzurri. As for Juventus, they're deprived of 140 million euros worth of summer talent. No Cope Mainers, no Nico Gonzalez, no Douglas Luiz either, and Bremer is out essentially for the season. There are some Juventus supporters there. Inside a smattering of Inter fans. Giorgio Marchetti of the UEFA is here. Inter-Juventus is big enough on its own without the need for subplots, but this match is littered with narrative strains. It's Thiago Motta's first derby d'Italia as Juventus coach, and it comes here at San Siro, where he was once one of Inter's treble heroes as a player. Winning is even more important tonight in light of Napoli's form at the top of the table. It's second place third, it's Inter against Juventus, it's the derby d'Italia. Inter with the very established side, very experienced team. Juventus in the throes of the change, reconstruction, revolution under Thiago Motta. Much younger crop of players, several expensive summer recruits, albeit many of them are missing tonight amid a spate of injuries. Does mean on average that Inter's starting 11 is 5 years older than Juventus is. Will that make a difference over the course of the season? Simone Inzaghi makes 5 changes to the team that began the win at Young Boys. First team regulars Bastoni, Di Marco, Lautaro and Thuram are all restored. And with Çalhanoğlu still out injured, it's Piotr Zielinski who is asked to operate as a playmaker, potentially alternating in that role with Niccolò Barella. Danilo, still the Juventus club captain, albeit he has not had too much game time so far this season. He was sent off on Tuesday, 2 yellow cards in the space of 3 games, albeit his suspension will be valid for match day 4 of the Champions League. He's ready to go in Serie A. Marco Guida is our match official. He's already taken charge of 2 editions of the Derby d'Italia in the past, and Paolo Mazzoleni is our video assistant referee. Thiago Motta goes with 4 alterations from the 11 that lost to Stuttgart. Di Gregorio was banned in that game and returns between the sticks, while Cambiaso, Locatelli and Weah all come in. Yildiz begins on the bench, as does Khéphren Thuram, who's on the opposite side to his big brother, Inter striker Marcus. Thiago Motta expected a reasonable reception here. He said he always conducted himself in the right way, hence why it's always been well received by his former clubs. Second place third in Serie A. Inter host Juventus in the Derby d'Italia. It's only round 9. It won't be crucial, Manuel Pascali, but it might well be very important come full time. Good evening once again.
Good evening, Patrick. Yes, it's a huge one. Inter-Juve is always, as we said, a special match, considering now Napoli are absolutely flying. They don't want them to fly away.
Immediately we're seeing some of the patterns of play that Juventus are trying to implement under Thiago Motta. Here's Conceição with the pace. It's his ball across, put behind by De Vrij. Corner inside 40 seconds for Juventus.
Yes, good start from the Bianconeri. And Siku Conceição can cause problems to any players in the league. He's fast, he's sharp. He can go and loves to go 1 against 1. And this is a mismatch between him and Bastoni in terms of pace.
Juventus were very good from set pieces under their predecessor, Massimiliano Allegri. We'll see how they fare here. Fagioli with the ball in, up and away by Thuram, who for the moment we can refer to as Thuram. We might have to use his first name as the evening wears on. Marcus, son of Lilian, older brother of Kefren, who's amongst the Juventus substitutes. Cambiaso, Conceição, again looking to wriggle away from Bastoni. Cabal is one of the new faces.
Yes, in terms of shape, Locatelli is playing his favorite position in front of the back four, in the middle of the park, as a playmaker, and McKennie and Fagioli will float around in between the pockets behind Vlahovic, with Conceição out wide and Weah on the opposite flank.
Danilo tried to break the lines there, seemed to have found McKennie, albeit the American was unable to control. Are you surprised by Yildiz not starting the game?
Yes, but I think Thiago realized that Yildiz is a bit late in terms of fitness, so he chose Weah, give him more cover in this side where Dumfries can be so dangerous.
Danilo's gone through the back of Thuram there, and Danilo left his team a man short late on against Stuttgart, who eventually went on to win the match on Tuesday in the Champions League, despite Mattia Perin saving a penalty. There's an argument to say that had that not been inside the 3rd minute, it might have warranted a yellow card here.
Yeah, I don't know, I'm watching Danilo condition, because you can see his left leg has been in an awkward way twisted on the ground. He can have some problem groin, I don't know, this could be a blow. Maybe we're gonna see, yes, Gatti already warming up there.
Federico Gatti, who was the inadvertent match winner back here in early February, he scored the only goal, an own goal. Juventus began that match 1 point behind Inter, as they do this evening, albeit they played a game more. Gatti scored an own goal, and Inter never looked back, eventually finished comfortably clear of the Bianconeri. Cabal getting some instructions there from Thiago Motta. Hakan Çalhanoğlu watching on from the stands. It's a big miss for Inter. He is expected, though, to fly to Paris tomorrow, along with Lautaro Martinez. It's the Ballon d'Or ceremony tomorrow evening.
Yeah, huge loss, but Zielinski, I think, can play there, especially considering his technical ability. He's in a different position. You need maybe to play with 1 or 2 touches, but he's got the qualities to play there.
Dumfries has looked in good form recently, which is why he's got the nod over Darmian this evening. There's one thing that Zielinski does offer, it's 2 feet.
Yeah, of course, he's very tight and calm. It's that control of the ball. I prefer, or even Inzaghi prefer him compared to Barella in that position.
Zielinski seeing plenty of the ball. Here's Pavard. Thuram making the run. Dumfries has found him. Here's Dumfries again, headed clear by Danilo. Cabal kept it alive, but straight to Dumfries. Eventually Danilo took no chances. Now Dusan Vlahovic is on his 9th visit to San Siro. He hasn't scored in any of the previous 8. That's for matches representing Fiorentina since he's been with Juventus, and that's whether it's against Milan or Inter in the league or the cup.
You already seen Inter usual right chain working well. This will force Danilo to take care about Barella in that position, in usual run. This will leave Thuram and Kalulu 1 against 1.
Cabal seeking out McKennie. It's a good ball as well. Bastoni able to duck under it. Now Mkhitaryan continues to defy the aging process. Played more minutes than anyone else. Dumfries with the cross. It's a really dangerous one too. Di Marco's kept it alive. No wonder Dumfries' cross got the thumbs-up treatment from Lautaro Martinez there. This is Zielinski. Getting away from Conceição. Zielinski's cross goes behind.
Wonderful ball played in by Dumfries. Again, on the right side, we're gonna see Dumfries' play against Cabal. Then you can see Barella. So Danilo has to shuffle across, and in the middle of the box is a 2 against 2. And then Di Marco is coming deep as well in the late time. So Cambiaso needs to be aware. He's got every time 2 men.
Cabal. Way of making it stick. Neat control from Locatelli, couldn't afford to get that wrong. Cabal saying that that was a hand from Lautaro Martinez. The home crowd trying to claim that was a back pass and clearly caught an Inter player before Michele Di Gregorio picked it up. He was at Inter from the age of 7 up until he was 19. Had several loan spells before eventually Monza took him, and Adriano Galliani intelligently put a purchase option in the deal. If Monza were promoted, it was automatically triggered. That's what happened, and Di Gregorio, having impressed in Brianza, is now a Juventus player.
What Inter does really well is, despite playing with the back 5, you see Bastoni every time out of possession, he's become a kind of center mid, picking up the opposition midfielder like McKennie.
Locatelli intercepted by Pavard. Now Inter in transition, which is where Thiago Motta has said they're very dangerous. High boot by Fagioli. He's one of several players, along with Nicolo Barella, that Luciano Spalletti will be looking at this evening. The Italy head coach is in the crowd.
Yeah, dangerous play by Fagioli.
Pavard. Quite the response from Inter to losing the derby against Milan. 5 straight wins since then. They've also shown that they can win with the minimum of fuss. 1 goal did the trick at Roma. Goal in added time against young boys from Turam got maximum points. Given away by Weah, Mkhitaryan. Zielinski can look for Di Marco. Instead he goes the other way. Zielinski. Dumfries will keep it in play. Turam. Pavard with the cross. Di Marco was waiting, that's Conceição. Vlahovic misjudged the bounce, he's barely had a kick so far.
Yeah, Inter are putting the Bianconeri under massive pressure.
Barella down the side, Lautaro Martinez. Danilo wasn't going to fall for that, but it is an Inter corner.
Yeah, no easy for a Juventus defender playing 2 against 2. Danilo and Kalulu needs to be so focused to play against Thuram and Lautaro. And now set piece, no Çalhanoğlu. Di Marco will take it with plenty of aerial threats. Juventus box.
Federico Di Marco has been compared to Roberto Carlos recently, a former Inter defender. Went on to be superb at Real Madrid in particular. Di Marco takes the corner short. That was not worthy of Roberto Carlos.
No, but I think Juventus realized immediately, reacted immediately this training ground Pratic corner. There was massive pressure on Di Marco.
Cambiaso, who's a rival with Di Marco for that position wide left for Italy. Fagioli. Cambiaso. Now it's Conceição, looking to expose Di Marco defensively. Conceição, McKennie. Pierre Kalulu. Weah. Vlahovic. Pavard stayed with him, but Juventus still have the ball. Will be patient and methodical. That's the Thiago Motta way. Was in charge of the Bologna side last season that came here and dumped Inter out of the cup. They were then the holders. That's what helped Juventus under Allegri to go on and win the competition, beating Atalanta in the final. Kalulu will be very familiar with this ground. He used to play for Milan.
Yeah, Juventus are happy to keep the ball. They got plenty of extra players, especially at the back, because Inter are keeping the back five line at the moment. So you can see Kalulu, Danilo, plus Locatelli and Cabal against just Lautaro and Thuram. So they've got plenty of possession.
Got so many big games on the horizon in Serie A. On Tuesday night, game here between Milan and Napoli. Inter have Napoli coming up before the November international break. That was hurried by Danilo. Napoli next weekend play against Atalanta, scored 6 goals last night against Verona. We've still got the Turin derby to come as well, which is just before the November international break. Juventus hosting Torino, so many matches to keep an eye on. But this one tops the lot.
You know, Patrick, what impresses me about Inter, you often see them so calm, even out of possession. They've got this reading of the game, that they realize when they have to press, when they have to stay deep, they don't panic.
Sommer didn't panic there, but Locatelli nearly won it off Barella. Risky?
Yes, high risk. So I'm not sure if Barella wanted to receive that ball under massive pressure by Locatelli. Great first touch, to be fair, because if you lose that, if you don't be perfect in that situation, Locatelli can steal the ball and then problems.
Dumfries. Barella looking for Pavard, it's perfectly weighted. Pavard, Danilo stretched, and it's a penalty. Danilo caught Marcus Thuram, a wag of the finger from Cambiaso, but Marco Guida has given Inter a penalty here.
Typical right work chain here from Inter. Good pass towards Pavard. How many times we said, Patrick, Inter or teams are playing with a back five or back three? Yeah, but Inter does this so well. And here, Thuram got first. You can see Danilo immediately realized that's a penalty.
And it's a similar challenge to the one that Danilo committed against Stuttgart. Got him a second yellow card, got him sent off. So, no Çalhanoğlu, and the player who's replaced him in the side is Piotr Zielinski. He's not yet scored for Inter. Big pressure on this. Zielinski scores! He's stepped into Çalhanoğlu's shoes this evening, and he is buried from the spot, just as Çalhanoğlu tends to do. It's Inter who strike first in the Derby d'Italia, and Zielinski's first goal for the Nerazzurri comes against Juventus.
Flawless from Zielinski on the penalty spot, doesn't panic. Sent Di Gregorio on the wrong way and opened the scores for the Nerazzurri. 1-0 here in the Derby d'Italia. Save for him, central. Opposite Di Gregorio picked a corner, and you cannot save those.
It is the first goal Juventus have conceded away from home in the league this season. They still haven't conceded from open play, but if they keep giving away penalties, they will drop points. They did so against Cagliari when Marin converted from 12 yards. They've shipped here. Calma, says Simone Inzaghi. And that was a big talking point in midweek. Arnautovic had a penalty saved. Mehdi Taremi was on the pitch as well. Neither of those here. We know that Lautaro Martinez doesn't have the best record from 12 yards. But Zielinski, title winner with Napoli a couple of seasons ago, showing what he's all about.
Yeah, great strike, the center. Obviously taking a gamble, because you know the goalkeeper is not maybe standing so hard for a goalie to stay away the right second and stay central. But how many penalties we've seen at the moment, Patrick? with the same as Danilo conceded now.
We saw it particularly in the game between Fiorentina and Milan. You would think that coaches would start to work on this on the training ground. Danilo's experienced. Yes, he's played the bulk of his career in a different era, essentially, when there might not have been this same spate of penalties. But Thuram was smiling because he knew that all he had to do was nudge the ball away and be kicked by Danilo. That's exactly what he did.
Yeah, it looked like now the striker nowadays are looking to just touch the ball before the defender if they know, but Danilo, as soon as he realized he was late, you could see his body language. He knew there was a mistake, huge mistake.
Juventus matches are producing plenty of penalties, and they're also producing lots of red cards. Have been red cards in each of their last 4 games. Weah winning it back off Barella. I'm not sure that was a foul.
Yeah, clever by Barella. Don't know why he didn't pass the ball towards Sommer. Then used all his experience to win this foul just outside of his own box.
Well, Zielinski was brought in essentially to keep Inter ticking over, to set the tempo as Çalhanoğlu does. Çalhanoğlu's specialty is converting penalties. Zielinski showing he's a match for the Turkey international on that score. And we've already seen this season that Juventus don't necessarily thrash teams. Haven't been too many big wins domestically. Barella. Away by Cambiaso. Given away by Cambiaso, Di Marco. Kalulu there to help out. Di Marco unhappy with Thuram for not making a near post run.
Yeah, correct. I think Di Marco was waiting Thuram to run just behind over the line because there was room for that ball to come, but Juventus, they need to calm down a bit. They need to be more focused. You cannot lose the ball like that Cambiaso just did. You don't want to concede the second.
We are going to see how Juventus respond. It was their first defeat under Thiago Motta of the season in the Champions League, and they were battered by Stuttgart. The scoreline perhaps doesn't tell the whole story. Yes, Perin saved a penalty late on. Danilo was dismissed in the closing stages of the match. The winning goal didn't come until the 2nd minute of added time, but Stuttgart had a dozen efforts on the Bianconeri goal in the first half alone. Here's Conceição. McKennie waits in the box with Vlahovic. Cambiaso, that's a good ball. Juan Cabal, McKennie calling for it. Here is Wes McKennie for Vlahovic! How good is that goal? He has his goal at San Siro, but it was put on a plate by McKennie, and just 4 minutes after falling behind, Juventus are back on level terms.
Wonderful game of football so far, Patrick. 20 minutes, you can see, look, McKennie. Bastoni is worried about Vlahovic, so he leaves McKennie completely unmarked. Fabulous ball to Cabal, from Cabal to McKennie to Vlahovic, and from there he doesn't miss.
Thiago Motta getting the best out of Dusan Vlahovic. He didn't get service in the Champions League. He's been teed up there all right by McKennie. And it's quite the response from the Bianconeri. San Siro has gone quiet. And Dusan Vlahovic takes his tally to 8 for this season. Half a dozen in Serie A.
Yeah, the biggest mistake is made by the Inter back three. Because if you see, Bastoni is attracted by Vlahovic, but the Fry is not in his usual position. So McKennie spotted the room in between the defenders. Great run, wonderful ball, and one each.
Don't want to jump the gun because we have played 20 minutes. The game could easily now settle down into a cagey affair, but it seems to be a slightly more open match than some of the games we witnessed in the previous 3 seasons when Juventus was so hard to break down under Max Allegri.
Yes, and compared to Inter last season defense, look, every time they're gonna concede. So now we're gonna see if you can score 2 against this solid Juventus. But Inter, if they want to win, they have obviously to score.
Here goes Bastoni, plenty of space to move into. Bastoni, Di Marco, it's a corner.
Yes, and now Inter immediately answer back with Bastoni galloping forwards. Now Zielinski will take this corner kick. Wonderful ball in by Cabal for McKennie.
So much had been made of the fact that Vlahovic had never scored in this grand old stadium. Can now focus on scoring many more at the Meazza. It's broken that particular duck. In it comes from Zielinski. Thuram got there. Here's Dumfries. Di Gregorio claws it away. Bastoni! It's off target. And there was a foul, I think, on Di Gregorio prior to that.
Yeah, Inter are so physical. This situation, we saw them scoring goals for fun. There's, I think, maybe even an offside position. We don't know if there is a push on Di Gregorio.
I think we have to give Thiago Motta some credit here. Yildiz left out, McKennie playing off Vlahovic, but that team selection has paid off, and then some.
Patrick, McKennie is so good to making this those late run in between the defenders. A wonderful ball played by Cabal. De Vrij was late because he went to press and double up Di Marco against Conceição, so left the room for McKennie to run in.
How difficult was that touch from McKennie into Vlahovic?
I think was the right one to take, because if you take a touch, it need to be inches perfect, because Sommer was ready to come off his line, so he preferred to go for an assist rather for a solo solution.
We are very quickly midway through this first half. It's gone very quickly because of all the incident. Inter winning a penalty on the quarter-hour mark. Zielinski grabbing his first Nerazzurri goal. But Vlahovic very quickly hitting back. Now Juventus want to take the initiative in this match. Weah, Locatelli, Vlahovic for Weah again. Here's Vlahovic once more. McKennie had Cambiaso behind him. Chico Conceição. Conceição standing it up. Too much on it for Weah. That's Cabal. Struck it well.
Yeah, no, a bad effort on the former Verona player. I think in a moment now Juventus are the better side. They're finding a bit of joy involving Vlahovic. They probably score with his first touch of the game. But they're playing at the moment good football.
They are indeed, and the optimists amongst the Juventus fan base will tell you that they're only going to get better once they have Turncoat Mainers fit again, Nico Gonzalez back from the treatment table, and Douglas Luiz as well. 3 big money summer signings, something that Simone Inzaghi referenced yesterday when he addressed the media. He said that rival teams had spent big money to close a big gap. He was referring rather unsubtly to the big points difference between Inter's champions last season and those that made up the numbers.
I'm watching Locatelli position. Interesting to see that he's taking care about Barella, and when the Sardinian player is reaching the last third, he's picking him up. Look here, look where is De Vrij, so late. That's Di Marco. They're playing McKennie on the side. De Vrij is too late, and this McKennie did so well, and Vlahovic from that distance cannot miss.
Vlahovic had to stay focused there. It's almost a temptation to see that as a formality, begin celebrating before, put it beyond Sommer. The goalkeeper is powerless to stop it. And that was Vlahovic waiting for the all clear. He's played enough now to know that VAR can always spoil moments such as those. But McKennie was clearly onside, and Vlahovic came from behind the US international.
And then, Patrick, when Juventus are defending, Fagioli is taking care about Zielinski, so goes in a higher position compared to McKennie, and McKennie stays with Mkhitaryan because obviously they've got more legs.
Danilo won it fairly off Lautaro Martinez. Lots of black and white shirts forward here. Cambiaso for Conceição. Still Conceição, he's dropped the shoulder and put in by Tim Weah. Juventus have turned this game around in the first half. Conceição doing the damage. And Weah had as simple a finish as Vlahovic before him. Thiago Motta's side on fire.
Absolutely incredible. Ciku Conceição taking two players on, going past them. And then finding Weah in the middle of the box. Look the amount of Juventus player attacking the box. Look, completely marked. De Vrij again. Look, you need to stay in your position. You cannot go and gamble and go for the back pass. You have to stay and cover the ball in between your goalie and the opponents. And Weah scored a sitter.
There were plenty of goals scored by Weah in this stadium. His iconic father George for Milan several decades ago, back in the 90s, but now it's Tim who's scored for Thiago Motta and Juventus, and they have absolutely picked Inter apart here. Juventus and Lautaro Martinez going down in desperation as opposed to any real expectation that the foul will be given. He stays down.
I don't know if it's has been a tackle in the middle of the park, but again, if you're gonna see the replay, you can see the Vrij that needs to cover the ball in between himself and the goalie. He does a step right because he spotted the danger there, and Conceição found Weah completely unmarked.
How many times in recent seasons have we said that Juventus didn't have pace or ability to beat a player? They've got it in spades with Yildiz and Conceição as well. He was out against Lazio because of suspension, having been sent off against Cagliari. Lazio, one of his father's three former Italian clubs, Parma are another, and Inter as well. And Chico Conceição doing the damage there. And it's not often you see teams get behind Inter twice, as Juventus have done.
Twice in the space of 8 minutes. Incredible, but we said it that Juventus were playing well after conceding the first goal. And as soon as they won the ball back in transition, they found Conceição. And the importance, you said it, Patrick, to have players that not scared to take responsibility and take players on.
It did appear that Juventus had an overload right from when they first came forward there, but still needed Conceição to beat a man, get that numbers up situation. And Weah, who got his first Serie A goal only on the opening weekend in the victory against Como, now has another one to his name. And this is a test for Inter. And dare I say it, it's the same scoreline by which they were beaten by Milan here in September. Di Marco, Zielinski, headed clear by McKennie. Well, we've spoken about Hakan Çalhanoğlu, Manuel. Inter are without Francesco Acerbi this evening, hobbled off against Roma. De Vrij did well in that match, but from what I'm hearing from you, he's not started this game particularly well. Here go Juventus again with Fagioli, who can release Conceição. Bastoni had to get there.
Yeah, he's been caught out of position for the first goal. Even Bastoni could have done better, realizing that his partner at the back was out of position. For the second goal, it happens so often. When somebody's reaching the opponent is reaching the byline, as a defender, you always try to anticipate the opponent's movement and save that ball. No, you have to stick with your duty. Save the ball in between yourself and the goalie, and you've done your duty.
Bastoni. Mkhitaryan. Easy for Cambiaso to step across him. McKennie. One back by Di Marco. Here's Locatelli for Juventus. Presumably this is what the Bianconeri fans wanted to see in recent seasons. A side that could go toe-to-toe against Inter. Allegri had his methods, they were very effective. Cabal under pressure here. It's a foul by Dumfries.
Yeah, more or less the same foul that Barella won minutes ago. Risky from Cabal. Here the penalty accident and Zielinski from the spot.
Almost impossible for goalkeepers to stand their ground there and stay tall until the final moment. Risky ball from Cambiaso, but he's found Danilo, who is beginning to wane. There's talk of him moving to Saudi Arabia in January. Here he finds McKennie. Again, Juventus come forward with purpose. Andrea Cambiaso. Now it's Conceição. Conceição pushed behind by Sommer.
Patrick, Inter are struggling because if Juve moves the ball quickly from side to side, they always find one-against-one situation. And Conceição is so hard to be stopped. He's got this injection of pace, and he tried to surprise Sommer on the front post.
All smiles for McKennie. And I think, in fairness to Lautaro Martinez, he was just injured, maybe fell awkwardly as opposed to asking for a free kick in the lead up to that second goal. Danilo clearly took the ball. Fagioli with the corner. Dealt with by Barella. Needs to be careful here, Locatelli. Di Gregorio's going to have to scamper back. Had that ball been any heavier, might have been a ridiculous own goal.
Yeah, own goal of the season. But you can see now Di Marco now and Barella trying to show something.
Conceição gives chase. Bastoni had a head start, but it looks a very exciting pair on the far side. Cambiaso and Chico Conceição. Juventus are now the team that keep the ball the best in the division since the arrival of Thiago Motta. At times, under Allegri in the final years, we saw them in the 30s and 40s. Not that that's necessarily an exact science.
Yeah, of course. But you know, that's Thiago Motta philosophy. And with all the technical players they got in the team, they can keep the possession, especially if Inter will only press with the two strikers. Juventus will have plenty of possession.
Really good game of football this, anything but cagey. It's open with two teams desperate to win, very keen to keep the pressure on league leaders Napoli. Dumfries, Barella, Zielinski. Not really used Di Marco too much in an attacking sense, the Nerazzurri thus far. Zielinski, Pavard finds Mkhitaryan, Thuram, Mkhitaryan. That's such a good goal from Inter. The quality on show tonight. It's Henrik Mkhitaryan who makes it two apiece. His previous goal had come in the derby many moons ago, and Mkhitaryan scores in a massive match here. We've had 4 goals in 35 minutes.
And Zanetti, Amadeus, big, huge Inter fans are absolutely on the moon. Look here, terrific football by Inter, but what a game we are watching, Patrick. We said it so many times, the quality in Serie A now is so high. And forget about how boring were the big match in Italy. This is a completely new era.
A new era indeed. Henrik Mkhitaryan, who will turn 36 in January. He played more minutes than any other Inter outfielder last season. He's already played more football this season than any other Nerazzurri player. That's more than Barella and Lautaro and the rest. And it's he who makes it 2 each. And here go Inter pursuing a lead once again. Thuram. It's run the way of Dumfries, who used his hand, but there's another penalty to Inter. Marco Guida in no doubt. This time Dumfries has been caught, and this game has everything.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Madness here in San Siro. We're gonna watch it again. It's no offside because the ball has been touched by a Juventus player. Yes, probably Dumfries touched the ball with his hand, but first there is a think. Yes, that's a penalty. For me, 100%.
Marco Guida very quick to make the decision. Kalulu has kicked the back of Dumfries' knee, just as Danilo caught Thuram earlier on. Juventus ill-disciplined defensively. They might be more attractive. They might be easier on the eye since the days of Allegri, but they can be got at defensively. We're seeing that tonight. They'd only conceded 1 goal in the league so far this season before this evening. They've already shipped 2, and they're on the cusp of picking the ball out of the net for a 3rd time. Cambiaso is unhappy with the decision. Kalulu can have no complaints. Can Zielinski do it again? He can. Di Gregorio frustrated because he went close, but it's 2 from Zielinski either side of a Mkhitaryan goal, and we've had 5 in the Derby d'Italia, and Inter, against all odds, have their noses in front.
This is incredible. Relentless from Zielinski. Perin and Pisoglio are complaining, but Inter, 38 minutes, Inter 3, Juventus 2. We cannot ask for more.
Di Gregorio came very close to keeping it out, but Zielinski had enough pace on the effort to negate the fingertips of the Juventus goalkeeper. They've gone from conceding 1 goal in 8 league matches to conceding 3 in fewer than 40 minutes at the Meazza.
Incredible. And there Zielinski, what he did so well, he kept the ball low, so Di Gregorio couldn't find a hard touch enough to save the penalty. You can see his frustration, but this is incredible game of football.
And we barely had time to react to Mkhitaryan's first goal in Serie A since September of 2023, more than a year, when he scored a couple in a 5-1 derby win over Milan. Left by Thuram, Barella. Cambiaso was confident even though he had Di Marco behind him. And Juventus now need to settle again. There's a feeling that Inter could score at will.
Yeah, every time Juventus are forcing passes inside the park, Inter are ready like a shark to win the ball back and immediately in transition create problems.
Manuel, you've been watching this game longer than me, especially in this part of the world. Do you remember a Derby d'Italia with this many goals?
No, to be fair, Patrick, I'm thinking about, yes, maybe you mentioned the start of the match, derbies between Inter and AC Milan. Yes, I remember more than few, especially lately, the last 5-6 years. But a game like this, I cannot remember. Remember Higuain scoring late goal, but was probably the 2nd goal of the night for Juventus. But the first half, 3-2, I cannot remember.
Yeah, that Higuain game you were talking about was when Luciano Spalletti was into boss. Juventus pipping Sarri's Napoli to the title that season, 2017-18. We did have a 4-2 win for Inter, albeit that came in Rome after extra time. That was the 2022 Coppa Italia final. And in May of 2021, Juventus beat Inter by 3-2, albeit that was at Juventus Stadium, as it was known then. Pair of goals from Juan Cuadrado, who then went on to play for Inter.
Yeah, but something like that, 5 goals in 1 half is incredible. You said it, Patrick. Juventus conceded just 1 goal from a penalty spot all the previous matches, and 40 minutes, 3.
Confirmation, Mkhitaryan also becomes the first player to score in open play against the Bianconeri domestically this season. They have been having some thrillers in the Champions League, we shouldn't forget that. 3-1 against PSV Eindhoven, they came back a man and a goal down at RB Leipzig to win 3-2. So there can be very entertaining matches featuring Juventus. And whilst Inter have twice been breached, they can still outscore anyone in Serie A, perhaps even Atalanta.
Yeah, if they you leave them playing their usual, pace. Look like every time they accelerate and look unstoppable with the fun, especially here at home in San Siro.
McKennie's given it away. Now it's Di Marco. Thuram has time and space. Marcus Thuram. Still going here, Thuram. This is a fabulous run. And it could have easily ricocheted in. Lautaro Martinez with his head in his hands.
Yeah, when Thuram starts to drive the ball at pace, he's able to change direction in tight areas. Here, opposite Juventus players are all scared to give another penalty away. You can see Fagioli, and here this ball can end up anywhere.
We'll need to frantically search through and see who the last player was to score a hat-trick of penalties, because that's a possibility now. It's Zielinski who takes the corner, punched away by Di Gregorio, and now Chico Conceição, well found by Fagioli. He can run at Mkhitaryan. Look at the black and white shirts getting forward. Vlahovic, wasn't the best ball really. Too much loft, a bit too wide, and Inter now get numbers behind the ball.
Yeah, awesome touch by Vlahovic.
No foul on Fagioli by Lautaro Martinez. 4 against 4 here, with Mkhitaryan leading the charge. Mkhitaryan. Thuram slows it right down.
Yeah, I think having a breath, because can see it's like a Thursday match in training ground practice where nobody likes to defend. Just every time you got the ball, attack and go forward. Incredible. And there you can see that Inter had the chance, but Thuram wisely took the ball and control and give it to the back.
It is a weekend of big games across the continent. It's a match between Arsenal and Liverpool in the Premier League last night. Barcelona won 4-0 in Madrid to beat Carlo Ancelotti's Real. Clearly, it's the theme this weekend, big games, producing open matches and plenty of goals. We've had 5 here. And there seems to be no suggestion that the game is going to calm down anytime soon. Manuel, you prep for hours for things to say, and then your notes go out of the window, because here you can barely take your eye off proceedings for a second.
Yes, incredible. Yesterday, Patrick, I was watching the El Clasico, and how entertaining it was, chances after chances. I was thinking, can we produce the same entertainment tomorrow night in Serie A? I think we are doing.
Lovely play there from Cambiaso, Conceição. Cambiaso. Is there another twist on the way? Sommer through the crowd. Juventus need to be wary of these attacking transitions. Cabal kept his eye on the ball. Locatelli had to get there ahead of Dumfries and did. Weah. Kalulu. Conceição. McKennie. Juventus start again with Kalulu. Locatelli. This is Cambiaso if he can keep it in. It's an overhit pass.
Yeah, and here it's the second penalty awarded. Don't know why the Juventus players are complaining. Probably yes, there is a Dumfries handball, but it's after the collision.
Why did Kalulu feel the need to try and clear that ball there? Did he see that Dumfries had got the wrong side of him? Was it desperation? Surely could have jockeyed.
Yeah, of course, especially as the previous accident involved, when Danilo was involved there, as a defender you just have to wait. If there is a striker around you, you guess they're gonna try to go first on the ball and win a penalty.
We've got 90 seconds remaining in this first half, because fourth official Andrea Colombo has lifted the ball that read 2. Kefren Thuram will be eager to get on in the second half to play against his older brother. Have once been on opposite sides, some 5 years ago, but greatest of respect for a game between Guingamp and Monaco. This is Inter against Juventus. Conceição through the gap, then forgot the ball, but Inter seemed to find it very hard to live with him. Andrea Cambiaso. This is Weah. Tim Weah seeking out a second! Very nearly had it as well.
What an effort from Timothy Weah, inches away from the top corner. You can see how good is this, so close. And Sommer can just watch. You said it, Patrick. Inter are struggling to mark and keep Conceição quiet, because they need 2 players on him, and this will free another Juventus player somewhere.
It's a first half that had everything. 5 goals, 2 penalties, so many moments of quality. Inter had an early lead, then Vlahovic and Weah turned it around the way of Juventus, but Mkhitaryan and Zielinski put Inter back in charge. Mkhitaryan with his first goal in more than a year, Zielinski with his first 2 in Nerazzurri colours. And believe it or not, we're only halfway through what is already the game of the season. At the break, Inter 3, Juventus 2. It's hard to know how to top that first half. Thiago Motta's Juventus side trailed by a goal to 0. They then led 2-1 before finding themselves behind by 3 goals to 2. Half a dozen trophies for him during his time with Inter as a player, including 3 in that iconic 2009-10 season under Jose Mourinho. Simone Inzaghi having to go through a pre-second half interview here. I'm sure he wants to focus on the task at hand. Nothing like San Siro under the lights. As things stand, Inter are on course to win the Derby d'Italia, but if the second half is anything like the first period, there are many more twists and turns along the way. Manuel Pasquali, as far as I'm aware, is not a betting man, so I won't ask him for a final score prediction, but can the 2 teams keep playing the way that they have played thus far?
I don't know, but Patrick, with the 5 subs, obviously we got plenty of quality even from the bench, so we're gonna see what's gonna happen. But the tempo the 2 teams played in the first half was incredible, and we see Thuram in the last 2 minutes taking a breath even in transition. We're gonna see, but surely this has been one of the best first half in the Derby d'Italia.
Indeed, it's the first time ever in the history of this fixture there have been 5 goals in the opening 45 minutes of a Derby d'Italia, game between either Inter and Juventus or Juventus and Inter. And it has certainly lived up to expectations on a weekend where there has been El Clasico in Spain, Le Classique to come in France later on. This is Italian football's version, the Derby d'Italia. And if Inter can shut down Conceição, they surely have a very good chance of going on to win this game.
Yeah, of course, it's not going to be easy because Inter wants to be really aggressive, so they push Di Marco forward. This will leave Conceição against Bastoni, or if they'll keep Di Marco deep, that's going to be an interesting, again, duel. Conceição was creating troubles all the first half.
A reminder that Inter signed Piotr Zielinski on a free transfer after his contract expired with Napoli. Beppe Marotta, the now Inter president, at the time was CEO for Sport, has made a history of doing that, including at his previous club, Juventus, who were known for bringing in players without paying a fee. Juventus's loss is now Inter's gain. This is a risky game from the Bianconeri. Andrea Pirlo, one notable example of Juventus signing a quality player on a free.
Yeah, Galliani has been the master as well, especially if you have a team that is or has financial problems. That's what you have to do, moving early before the transfer windows. Taremi, I remember Zielinski and Taremi signed for Inter in February, I think. So a great piece of business again by Marotta, compared to all the players they had to leave for better for other teams.
Conceição too strong for Bastoni. He's got Vlahovic in the channel, but the pass wasn't the best. It allowed De Vrij to intercept. Barella. Calmly done by Sommer. Danilo has caught Thuram.
To be fair, I don't know why there is no point to fall a player that is going to attack and try to control a high ball just on the halfway line, and you are 2 against 1, so you're favourite to win it.
Marcus Thuram spoke to a national sports newspaper this week, said that his father Lilian would support Kefren, the younger brother. Lautaro for Di Marco, pushed away, and here's Lautaro Martinez again. Dumfries, Di Gregorio was brave, having not done impeccably well with the initial save.
Yeah, first chance of the second half for the Nerazzurri. Not sure was what Di Marco was trying to do, was trying to surprise Di Gregorio on the far post, or he tried to find Dumfries.
That's a corner off Locatelli, and now Thuram asking the Curva Nord to make some noise as Inter look to open up a 2-goal cushion. Di Marco clearly onside, well found by Lautaro Martinez, and it seemed to be neither a shot nor a cross.
Yeah, and we don't often see Di Marco missing, and this is a big miss for Dumfries.
Di Marco curls in the corner, away by Weah. Mkhitaryan looking for Barella, one back here by Cabal. You could see it was his weaker side, kept in by Conceição. De Vrij on his way back, reclaims possession.
Yeah, better from De Vrij. It's the second time he does well in the second half. First to intercept the dangerous ball from Conceição, and now winning and pick up the pieces in the middle of the box, the half.
Been lots of different phases of this match. We've seen both sides on top at various stages. Spells in the game when Juventus have had more of the ball and more of the territory. Since the start of the second half, it's been essentially Inter pressing forward and asking questions. Sommer seeks out to Ram. Danilo's lost him. Danilo will finally be booked here. Surprisingly, hadn't yet received a yellow card, but there was always a mismatch in terms of pace.
Yeah, Inter from the back is building in an interesting way because they're keeping deep. Not only Zielinski, but Barella, and Sommer finds a long ball towards Thuram, stronger than Danilo, and Juventus number 6 is forced to make 4.
Danilo was one of Juventus' best performers last season, perhaps benefiting from playing alongside Bremer. He was out with that ACL injury, but he seems to have aged very quickly. Thuram, Mkhitaryan, Lautaro Martinez, Mkhitaryan again. Cambiaso taking a big chance in his own penalty area and conceding an unnecessary corner.
Yeah, Mkhitaryan is having a fantastic game, wonderful game. Played 1-2 again with Lautaro, and then Cambiaso at the end did well to shield the ball, but then he had to clear it. But now he's in a corner, another one for Inter.
Zielinski with the set piece. Here's Denzel Dumfries. He snuck it in. And Inter score again. The time to take a touch. And then it was all about precision into the corner. It's another big selection call that Simone Inzaghi's got right this evening. Dumfries starting ahead of Darmian. And Marotta sees his side go 2 goals clear.
If you have a chance and you're defending against Inter, clear the ball as far as you can. Don't concede, don't give them any chance, especially on that ball situation. Good ball in by Zielinski here. Not the first touch he would love to have, but somehow Dumfries managed to find the corner, and Di Gregorio can only watch the ball, find it the net.
His previous goal was to rescue a point at Monza earlier on this season. It is now 4 across club and country this term for Denzel Dumfries, a couple for the Netherlands, but this is a huge goal on his CV, one in the Derby d'Italia. And we now have half a dozen goals tonight. And Inter do now enjoy daylight over the Bianconeri.
Yeah, the way Inter started the second half was clear. They wanted to score the 4th one, and they managed to put Juventus under massive pressure.
In amongst all the dignitaries there, we saw our CEO from Lega Serie A, Luigi De Siervo, who seemed absolutely enchanted by what a spectacle these two teams are putting on. It is a glorious advertisement for the league. And most teams would be out for the count, trailing by 2 away at Inter. Juventus might well end up on the losing side, but they're going to give it a good go now. Let's try and again come from behind. Conceição. And now will Cambiaso regret conceding that corner?
Yeah, of course, because he wanted to shield, uses his strength to provide Mkhitaryan to have an extra touch, but there, if you have a chance, clear it. You're under pressure. You're against the Italian champion. Don't give them a chance.
Cambiaso. Conceição. With the give and go. Risky challenge from Mkhitaryan. Conceição bouncing off Lautaro Martinez. Danilo. Locatelli. Looking for Cabal. Dumfries does his main job well as scoring the goal, but he's not got it clear. Weah. Conceição for Cambiaso. Di Marco gets there.
Fantastic job by Di Marco. But again, Dumfries showing why he's been chosen from Simone Inzaghi in the starting 11 tonight.
We saw one of the treble heroes from 2010, Esteban Cambiaso, in the crowd earlier on. He was a teammate of Thiago Motta's under Jose Mourinho. His nickname was Cuccio. It's also a childhood nickname that Andrea Cambiaso had because of similarities in the spelling of his name. Albeit this is Cambiaso with one S, that's Cambiaso with two. But Thiago Motta now getting potentially a tactical lesson from Simone Inzaghi, but not one which is yet complete.
Mkhitaryan is another one that is having a wonderful match so far.
Juventus senior management there, Giorgio Chiellini looking a little bit glum. Cristiano Giuntoli in the row behind him, he's the one who's sanctioned such big spending in the close season. For us to be able to say that Juventus is shorn of 140 million euros worth of summer signings means they had to at least spend that amount in the first place. Yes, they got plenty of proceeds coming in the other way. They got big wages off the books too. Cambiaso, here's McKennie, corner off Devray.
Decent run as usual from McKennie, who tried the back heel pass like Guti in the pass to free Vlahovic, but Devray did well. But watch out this late run by the Texan.
Was there an argument for him to shoot first time there? We're about to see Kenan Yildiz shortly, but not before this Juventus corner. Sent in by Cambiaso, Mkhitaryan there at the near post. Conceição, that's miscued.
Yeah, they tried to aim the front post area where Vlahovic made a decent run. Mkhitaryan is alert, and now Savona as well might come on alongside Yildiz.
It's been a real revelation, has Nicolò Savona. All of the headlines were hogged by Mbangula early on this season. Thuram well found by Lautaro Martinez. Thuram away from Danilo. Still there for Thuram. Can he tee up a teammate? He was looking for Mkhitaryan. In the end, he just took it too wide. That would have been the goal that killed off Juventus. Instead, Weah, that might be a yellow card for Pavard.
Yeah, Thuram looked like he was in offside position. The Juventus recovered, won the ball back and ready in transition. Pavard did well to stop Weah. Now we're gonna see if this will come on for Timothy Weah and Savona. Remember, Danilo has been booked.
Cambiaso. Cabal. Locatelli's wriggled away, looked for Vlahovic. Cambiaso. Conceição looking for space. Still Conceição, Vlahovic. Between them, Dumfries and Devray got it away. But again, Inter having to defend deep in their own penalty area.
Yeah, and again, if the ball is reaching the Portuguese winger, you can see troubles, because obviously he attracts more than one player.
Savona and Yildiz wait for the moment. Cambiaso. Conceição. Still Conceição. Did catch Di Marco. It will be a corner.
There is the target of any single Juventus build-up play. Giving the ball is going to create something. Now it won. Decent corner kick. But Juventus now are trying to score the third one. Be back in the game.
Conceição. Away from Zielinski. It's a clever cutback. And Kalulu this time tried his luck. It's another corner.
So rapido. Conceição, the ball in his feet. So hard to be stopped.
Juventus aren't as strong in the air without Bremer, but they still have plenty of headed threats. Cambiaso with the corner. Mkhitaryan got his forehead to it. Teams typically reluctant to make changes when defending a set piece, but given this is a throw-in which succeeds two corners, Thiago Motta has now decided to act. It's Fagioli coming off for Yildiz. And Tim Weah, the scorer of the second goal. How long ago that feels now. Inter have since scored 3 without reply. It's he who's withdrawn for Kenan Yildiz.
Yeah, probably Cambiaso will move further up the park in the middle. And we're gonna see Ildis where he's gonna play, maybe out wide or behind Vlahovic, with McKennie playing alongside Locatelli in the middle of the park.
Weah didn't do anything wrong, but it is the way of the modern game. 5 substitutes. Thiago Motta and Simone Inzaghi was keen to use the full complement. Half an hour now for Yildiz to try and impact the game. Savona, well watched by Di Marco. Looked like Mkhitaryan pulled back Vlahovic there. The last touch seemed to come off the Serbian. That's why I think Inter have now got the decision. And they're going to make a double change. Zielinski, the scorer of 2 penalties, I think has his number up now. He's got Inter halfway towards this win. And they're very appreciative of his efforts. Fratesi on to provide more energy. And it's Pavard having just been booked. We've seen this policy before from Simone Inzaghi. Bisek replaces him.
Yeah, Inzaghi doesn't want to take any risk. Now we'll probably see Barella like in the playmaker role position, and Fratesi, if the game will be stretched and Simone Inzaghi thinks, then Fratesi will be perfect, will drive the ball forward with pace, with legs, with energy.
We've not seen a great deal of Vlahovic since he scored that goal earlier on. Then again, that's the sort of striker he is. There was an interview with former player Massimo Mauro in the lead-up to this game. He said that you need to be able to say, as a team, that you sent in 10 crosses towards Vlahovic and he didn't score. Only then can he get the blame for missing chances. It's a slight exaggeration, but the point stands. Also said that Vlahovic is not the sort of player to pick up the ball and dribble past several opponents. Thuram for Lautaro, meantime. It's not properly cleared. Barella lost the ball, but he was being pulled back by Cabal.
You know, Patrick, I think pulling in now, putting in Fratesi in the park from Inzaghi is a clever move, because with McKennie and Cambiaso in the middle of the park, Simone Inzaghi is scared about their pace, their late run. So with Fratesi, you got someone who can match those qualities.
We had a very entertaining Derby della Madonnina last month. Milan winning by 2-1 against Inter. This has been hugely entertaining. It might be the rule. Di Marco, he's tempted by that. It's a fabulous save from Di Gregorio.
What a strike from Di Marco, the number 32. Moved the ball cleverly. And look how clean is this strike. And Di Gregorio has to produce a wonderful save.
To feel they can really hurt Juventus here psychologically. Barella takes the corner. Stefan de Vrij was on the move. There's the Curva Nord you can hear there, making a lot of noise. Conceição wants his colleagues to press. On by Dumfries. Here's Savona. Finding Kalulu. Thuram's closed him down well here. Is that a corner? Did it go beyond the byline? It's another corner that Inter have forced.
Risky ball from Savona, and then Thuram with desire, with the fire in his belly, was trying to press. And here came from Thuram on the bench with Perin and Pinsoglio, winning a corner kick where Inter can put the game into the bed.
As things stand, Napoli on 22 points. Inter would go on to 20. They'd be just 2 behind the league leaders. Juventus would fall 6 off the summit. Be on the same tally as Lazio and Atalanta. Di Marco with the set piece. Dumfries tried to meet it. Barella on the volley, and it needed another smart save from Di Gregorio. There was a deflection.
Yes, outstanding save by Di Gregorio again, because he was wrong-footed by the Juventus deflection. Barella from there scored a couple of stunning goals. Here the ball deflected by Vlahovic probably, and Di Gregorio reacted well against his former club.
Barella already scoring a volley with his left foot at the other end of the ground against Atalanta this season. It's another ball in from Di Marco. There's De Vrij, and De Vrij again. Big chance for him.
They picked the weaknesses into Juventus area where are defending the zonal mark. You can see penalty spot. But De Vrij here, keep your left shoulder down and you gotta keep the ball down. And here Di Marco, powerful shot from distance.
Juventus grateful to Michele Di Gregorio for a couple of important saves in quick succession. Cabal. Conceição.
Obviously under massive pressure from Bastoni and Di Marco. Conceição was trying to pass the ball back towards his teammate.
Don't recall Sommer having a single save to make in the second half. Inter have taken charge of the game. Won by Savona, Cambiaso. This is Locatelli. Juventus need to get Yildiz on the ball. Conceição. Shown inside by Inter. McKennie with a heavy touch. And Inter can spring forward here. Barella. Thuram wants it. Fratesi breaking forward too. Barella still carrying it. And in the end, he went for goal himself.
Yeah, he almost went inside the box because no one from Juventus were going to try to match him. Look here, 1 point, Danilo or Kalulu has to come off. There, look down for no, it's Thuram completely left unmarked.
And Lautaro in the left channel as well. In the end, Barella thought he could grab some glory. Scored a very good goal against Juventus at that end of the ground from a Route 1 ball from Bastoni a few years ago. It's a different type of finish. And it comes from Di Marco. Di Gregorio wasn't sure it's that same corner where Dumfries scored. It is another one for Inter.
And again, De Vrij going attacking the front post area just behind Savona, in between Savona and Vlahovic. Find the ball. I think there is a deflection from big number 9.
Far from Juventus getting back into this match. It looks like it's only a matter of time before Inter score again. And they have had some big scorelines against their rivals in recent seasons under Simone Inzaghi. 5-1 in the derby last season, lest we forget. Di Marco with the ball in, Lautaro Martinez, a foot wide.
So close by the skipper. Wonderful ball again by Di Marco. Front area, behind Savona, in between Savona and Vlahovic again. And there even Bastoni could have put his time more. The score, probably the goal the Inter needs to put the game in bed.
Lautaro still working very hard. They've identified a weakness in Kalulu's ability to build up from the back. It's the second time we've seen that. Earlier on Thuram, and now Lautaro shutting down the space. Inter's next 2 games look very winnable. A trip to Tuscany in midweek. They're at the Castellani to take on Empoli. Then they play Venezia after that. But hang on, here's McKennie. Now it's Yildiz, who can run at Dumfries. Kenan Yildiz! That's an impact! Juventus are back in the game. And the heir to Del Piero's throne has scored against the Nerazzurri. Kenan Yildiz keeps the game alive.
Yeah, incredible again. We thought the Inter was going to score the fifth one. No, counter-attack. And Yildiz, 1 against 2, finds the net. Game on here again in San Siro. Look, here, 2 men Inter players out of position. But the ball comes into Yildiz here against Bisek and Dumfries. Again, they're waiting too long. And Yildiz finds the net for a tight corner. The ball goes in between Dumfries' legs and no chance for Sommer.
If you're wondering why a 19-year-old wears the prestigious, iconic Juventus number 10 jersey, you've just seen evidence there. They believe in Kenan Yildiz. He has great belief in his own game. And Juventus now feel that they might be able to astonishingly make this scoreline Inter 4, Juventus 4. Kenan Yildiz didn't even need to do a lot from the looks of things, Manuel.
No, incredible mistake that Dumfries did. He just waited too long. Go and face him. Bisek is alongside, is close to yourself as well. Don't give him the chance to score and shoot from there.
It's already a season when he became Juventus' youngest ever goal scorer in the Champions League. And Kenan Yildiz continues to make his mark in the biggest matches. Said he was as young as 3 when his father in Germany took him to the local park and taught him how to play using YouTube videos. Bisek with the flick on, Thuram on the turn. They want another corner, they don't get it.
Yeah, but how many chances, Patrick? Every time a team here tonight are reaching the opposition box, look like something is gonna happen. Chances after chances again. Look like more goals maybe will come.
Is it now time for Khéphren Thuram? It's a surprise that Inter scored 4 and their top scorer, Marcus, who got the added time winner at Young Boys, who scored 7 in Serie A, hasn't got his name on the score sheet. But he's had more touches in the opposition area than anyone else. Di Marco with the ball in. Kalulu kept his eye on it.
Yeah, again, wonderful ball from Barella to Di Marco, who spotted in the middle of the box to Thuram. So first time ball in. Kalulu covered well.
The Juventus strategy presumably will now just be get the ball to Yildiz.
Yeah, like they did. And on the other side they've got Conceição as well, so reach the last 30 meters, give them the ball.
Yet another Inter corner, not the best one, not properly cleared though. But Juventus can counter with Locatelli. Now it's Conceição. Locatelli picks up the baton. Savona. Conceição. He was fouled by Dumfries. Inter have forgotten how to defend.
Yeah, and again, transition after transition. Incredible, such an entertaining match. Every time there is players willing to score, so immediately going forward, vertical football. And here Conceição, who's been a factor tonight so far.
That was Yildiz's first goal of the season in Serie A. Scored against PSV Eindhoven. It's only his 3rd goal in 36 league appearances for Juventus, albeit the bulk of those last term came from the bench. Gatti is going to come on, and Thiago Motta perhaps conscious he could be a threat in the air, the opposition box. Cambiaso curls it in. Thuram got it clear. Di Marco's first to it. No tactical foul from Cambiaso, still Di Marco. Thuram up against Yildiz. Lautaro Martinez. He's missed a couple tonight.
Yeah, don't know why Locatelli chose to don't go for this ball that was bouncing in front of him. And then Di Marco had the chance to drive forward. Thuram spotted his punter up front. Here, Thiago Motta is not happy. Now we're gonna see if maybe Danilo has been booked. It's gonna come off.
Vlahovic comes off Mbangula, so we might see Yildiz playing as a false nine if Mbangula goes and plays wide. Danilo has not had a good game this evening. He's not had a good week, really. Sent off against Stuttgart on Tuesday. Gave away a penalty this evening. So Gatti places the skipper. And Darmian is a more defensive-minded player for Inter. The issue that the Nerazzurri have is they've lost Carlos Augusto to injury recently on the plastic pitch in Bern. They're still without Tejan Buchanan, albeit he's back in training, and Dimarco rarely plays 90 minutes. So Darmian will have to play as an inverted left wing-back. And we'll see what Conceição can do against him.
Yeah, big job for Darmian. Coming on is always so hard. Imagine playing against such a direct, quick, fast player. And now we're gonna see, it will be interesting to see how Juventus will shape up front.
It's been the main shortcoming, really, of Juventus. They don't have a replacement for Vlahovic. Milik's still out, probably will be till December. Thuram's gone down meantime. The idea was they would play Nico Gonzalez as a false nine, but he's injured. That's why Vlahovic is having to play week in, week out. He's played more minutes than anyone else. That wasn't the passage of play we've just seen.
Yeah, it looked like Mbangula will be the solo striker. His duty will be to try to attract even in a build-up play like Zirkzee was doing last season. But even he's a fast player too, so he can hit diagonal, run the channels.
Dumfries straight to Gatti. Assured first touch from him. Mbangula. Fratesi helping out De Vrij. Inter have still got 12 minutes here to hang on to this lead. Measured from Sommer. Cabal with time to bring it down. Locatelli. Cabal, a very accomplished crosser. It was his ball in that prompted the own goal from Mario Hila, winner against Lazio last weekend. Savona. Yildiz making the run. Yildiz has got there, and he just had to keep it down.
Yeah, as soon as the ball left Savona foot, you could have seen Yildiz attacking behind Bisek. Look here, and then Dumfries is too late. Bisek has to cover and attack that ball. This is a glorious chance for Juve to equalize.
Yildiz didn't quite get to the bounce of the ball, otherwise you feel he would have controlled it. That's a foul by Thuram this time. Up against Pierre Kalulu. Thuram part of the France international setup. Kalulu yet to be involved with the senior side. He is back to his best since moving to Turin. Yildiz. Simone Inzaghi looking a little bit anxious. Juventus are about to make another change. That's their team manager down there with the board. He's going to be Kefren Thuram, so going to have the Thuram brothers on the pitch together. Yildiz. Bastoni lets it run. Sommer grabs hold of it.
Yeah, now Inter needs to be calm. Sure that Juventus will try everything till the last second to score the equalizer, even a set-piece situation. That's why probably Gatti's on the park. Inter will look to score the fifth one.
Brought down well by Thuram. Dumfries has got there. Juventus have the ball. Inter asking why there wasn't a foul there. Both Thuram and Dumfries potentially impeded. Clever ball from Locatelli. Cabal stepping forward. Still Cabal. Here's Cambiaso. Conceição stands it up. It's reached Kenan Yildiz! This is remarkable! He scored twice off the bench for a quite preposterous scoreline at the Meazza. Juventus have a wonderful number 10, and Kenan Yildiz has single-handedly got them back on level terms.
How many times we see the famous number 10 jersey here shining in San Siro? Del Piero, so many times here. And now Kenan Yildiz finding a copy of the first goal, keeping the ball low. Dumfries is late. Sommer should have done better, but this is another goal from an astonishing game of football.
Yildiz has just spurred a chance to get his second and Juventus' fourth. He didn't pass up this opportunity. Vlahovic appreciative of the finishing of his understudy and junior colleague. And Inter only have themselves to blame here. Khéphren Thuram might still come on. In fact, the instructions have just changed. Thiago Motta now sees the pendulum swing back the way of the Bianconeri. And if there is to be a ninth goal tonight, the odds are now on the visitors to get it. McKennie makes way, and Lilian Thuram will be a proud father this evening. His two sons, Marcus and Khéphren, are on opposite sides on the pitch together in the Derby d'Italia.
Wow, for each 8 goals, 5 in the first half. Incredible. What a game. Yildiz will remember this night so long.
Yildiz will certainly remember it, even more so will it linger in the memory if he were to add a hat-trick goal and become the definitive match winner. Juventus still have resilience. That was one of their strengths under Allegri. They've added plenty of attacking flair, and had Yildiz controlled that, they might have been in business. It's a foul meantime by Thuram. Khéphren, that is.
Yeah, but it's incredible from a long shot from long kick from Di Gregorio. All the Inter defense was all over the place. Bastoni out of position. De Vrij left by himself.
I imagine Giorgio Chiellini's a bit conflicted here, because on the one hand, Juventus have come back from a goal down to lead 2-1, from 4-2 down to make it 4-all. But he, as an old-school defender, probably feels they haven't defended well enough. Kalulu is penalised, and Juventus had an overload there. Big call from Marco Guida, hence the reaction from the Frenchman.
He got the ball, sure. For me, this is not a foul, but Marco Guida is close to the accident there.
Thiago Motta is presumably saying Mkhitaryan led with the stance, just as Kalulu did. Kalulu got the ball, and Mkhitaryan then appealed for a free kick, and he got it. Mehdi Taremi is about to come on. Might be a very brief period when the two Thuram brothers are on the pitch together, unless it's Lautaro who's withdrawn. Fratesi took a chance, Cabal's intercepted it. Juventus have all the momentum now. Juan Cabal. By the way, this is a scoreline which will be delightful news for Antonio Conte, the Napoli boss, watching two of his old clubs dueling it out here at the Meazza. Would only serve to increase Napoli's cushion at the summit. Conceição. Inter look weary. Conceição again, Savona on the overlap. Juventus go the other way. Just think what Yildiz could have done if he'd started the game. Locatelli. Was he caught late? It's just a goal kick.
Yeah, but There are players, Patrick, when they come on, when the game has been stretched, where everybody is tired, and they make a huge difference. And this is doing here, creating havoc here in San Siro.
It is Marcus Thuram who comes off, so Taremi will go and partner Lautaro Martinez. Yildiz before tonight had 2 goals in Serie A. He's doubled his tally in the Italian top flight. And at this stage, Manuel, if you're Simone Inzaghi, do you just try and take the point and get out without defeat? Can they do that?
It's not easy, but the way the game is going, I think I will take a point.
Conceição, Juventus aren't settling for a point. Conceição slipped. Darmian has it. Gatti. Savona. Di Gregorio for Kefren Thuram. Sliced away by Mkhitaryan. Taremi won it well, but he went through Locatelli to get to the ball. Juventus look the fresher of the two teams.
Yeah, to be fair, if you consider, if you watch the attacking trio, Conceição and Bangula and Yildiz, credit to Thiago Motta, because on the 4-2 result, everybody was thinking about Inter to win it. No, the Portuguese didn't think about that.
Don't remember a game that's been harder to call than this one, whilst we've been watching it unfold in front of our eyes. Every time you think the team is in the ascendancy, has taken charge of the match, the opposition go and hurt them. Darmian. Too short. Cambiaso. Did he keep it in play? No. Whole ball apparently crossed the line. Frey had to get enough pace on that ball back to Sommer. Then Bangula closing him down. Good first touch from Darmian to force Savona to deal with it. Kefren Thuram. Away by De Vrij. Taremi with the flick on. Kalulu got a nudge from Lautaro Martinez. It's a Juventus free kick.
Yeah, and I think the referee spotted right.
Confirmation of our CEO watching on. We're into the final minute of a game that no one wants to end. Yildiz wins the flick on. Bisek there to clear. Yildiz has kept it in play. Mbangula. Kefren Thuram. Yildiz can run at Dumfries. Yildiz. Cambiaso nearly got there. No foul by Dumfries on Yildiz. Lautaro bounces off the challenge, but Cabal is going to be booked now for dissent. He said it's shoulder to shoulder, but it can only be shoulder to shoulder if it's side to side, not from behind like that.
Fair, Patrick, I want to say that I think, in my opinion, the referee had a good, very, very good game. Took, I think, all the decision right. If the game has been so entertaining, all credit to himself as well.
Just 3 minutes on the way. I would wholeheartedly agree with you, Manuel, especially as there are even double-page spreads in certain newspapers being a bit mischievous this week, talking about the controversy of the refereeing appointment. He has been almost flawless, Marco Guida, in a very difficult game to officiate. The 2 penalties he awarded Inter were both stonewall. Here's Lautaro Martinez. Can Inter win it in added time? Lautaro Martinez Now Fratesi, important block from Locatelli, vital.
Yeah, outstanding block by Locatelli, but now Inter will try to win it. This corner.
Yildiz, one of the possible winners of the Panini Player of the Match award. His brace off the bench has got Juventus on course for a point, but they could yet throw it away here unless they're careful. Mkhitaryan with the set piece. Khéphren Thuram stopped it from curling in at the near post. Inter have taken it short. They don't beat the first man, Cambiaso. Taremi, Bisek. Locatelli used his chest, and now Conceição's after it. Darmian wins the challenge. And wins a free kick. Quality.
Yeah, that's what you expect from Darmian. But for me, Inter needs to produce a better delivery. It's maybe your last corner of the night. You got a chance to win it. Mkhitaryan first and then Barella did not well.
They wasted the previous corner, making ill afford to spurn this free kick opportunity. It's all about the shape on the ball from Barella. It's now or never. Barella with the ball in. Bastoni was there. Was Savona fouled? Yes, says Marco Guida. So the final opportunity of the game might yet go the way of Juventus, but it does look destined to end in a draw, Manuel. And I think it's hard to disagree with that result.
Yeah, here Bastoni late, Savona did well. Here obviously Di Marco disappointed, but yes, as you said, probably the fair result.
There will be regrets for Simone Inzaghi, particularly when he looks at the league table later on this evening or perhaps in the morning. The 3 added minutes have been played. Brought down by Khéphren Thuram. One of the most memorable editions of the Derby d'Italia ever. Kenan Yildiz came off the bench to grab a point for Juventus when they looked out for the count at 4-2 down. Thiago Motta's first game here as Juventus boss, Enzel Square. It is an outcome which favours Napoli, the league leaders, who are now 4 clear at the summit. But these two will surely be involved in the title race well into the spring on this evidence. Yildiz is a rising star, and the game ends at the Meazza. Inter 4, Juventus 4.